Deep in the picturesque valleys of central Mexico lies the enchanting city of Guanajuato, a place brimming with life, color, and culture. Its cobblestone streets, vibrant houses, and dramatic landscapes attract visitors from all over the world. Yet beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic city lies a chilling secret, one that has haunted the imaginations of locals and tourists alike for over a century. This is the story of the screaming mummies of Guanajuato, a tale of death, mystery, and horror. The mummies, with their haunting, open-mouthed expressions, have baffled scientists, terrified visitors, and sparked legends that refuse to die. What secrets do they hold? Were these unfortunate souls buried alive, their screams frozen for eternity? Or is the truth even darker than we dare imagine? The story begins in 1833, during a time of unimaginable fear and chaos. A devastating cholera epidemic swept through Guanajuato, leaving death and despair in its wake. Cholera, a disease spread through contaminated water, was poorly understood at the time. Once infected, victims suffered from dehydration, severe diarrhea, and, in many cases, death within hours. The city, overwhelmed by the sheer number of deaths, was forced to act quickly. Bodies were buried almost immediately to prevent the disease from spreading further. There was no time for elaborate funerals, no chance for loved ones to say proper goodbyes. In the rush to contain the outbreak, mistakes were inevitable. Medical science in the 19th century was far from advanced. Without modern tools like stethoscopes or machines to detect heartbeats, doctors had no way of confirming death with certainty. In their haste, they might have pronounced some people dead who were still clinging to life. Years passed, and the cholera epidemic became a grim chapter in the city's history. By the late 1800s, Guanajuato cemeteries were running out of space, and a new law was introduced. Families were required to pay a burial tax to keep their loved ones in the ground. It was a heartless yet practical solution to the overcrowding problem. For the wealthy, paying the tax was no issue, but for the poor, it was an impossible burden. When families couldn't afford to pay, the bodies of their loved ones were exhumed and stored elsewhere. It was during these exhumations that workers made a discovery so horrifying it would shake the entire city. As gravediggers unearthed the bodies, they found something unexpected. The corpses had not decomposed. Instead, they had turned into natural mummies, their skin and features eerily intact. This was shocking enough, but the real horror lay in their faces. Many of the mummies had their mouths wide open, as if frozen in mid-scream. Their hollow eyes stared out, seemingly filled with terror. Their expressions were so vivid, so lifelike, that it was impossible not to wonder. What had these people experienced in their final moments? Theories began to circulate. Could these people have been buried alive? Had some of them woken up inside their coffins, only to realize they were trapped, alone, and suffocating? The idea was as horrifying as it was plausible. Picture this. A person falls victim to cholera. Their pulse becomes weak, their breathing shallow, and their body cold. In the panic of the epidemic, their family believes they've died. With no time to waste, the body is placed in a wooden coffin and lowered into a crypt. But the person isn't dead. Hours later, they regain consciousness in total darkness. Their chest feels heavy, the air is stifling, and their heart races as they realize where they are. They scream, but no one hears them. They claw at the coffin lid, their fingernails splintering and their fingers bleeding as they fight desperately for escape. Eventually, the air runs out. The person gasps for breath. Their body convulses, and their face twists in a final expression of terror. When the coffin is opened decades later, that horrifying expression remains, a silent scream frozen in time. Some of the mummies show physical evidence supporting this theory. Scratches on their skin, broken fingernails, and dislocated jaws suggest a desperate struggle. For many, this is the most chilling explanation for their haunting appearances. Not everyone agrees with the idea that these people were buried alive. Scientists have proposed another theory. The environment of Guanajuato itself played a role in preserving the bodies. The city's dry climate, combined with the airtight conditions of the crypts, created the perfect environment for natural mummification. Without moisture, the bodies dried out before they could decay. As the skin and tissues dehydrated, they shrank, pulling the mouth open and creating the appearance of a scream. While this explanation may seem less horrifying, it doesn't make the mummies any less disturbing to look at. Their gaping mouths and hollow eyes still seem to tell a story of pain and fear that science can't fully explain. Today, many of these mummies are on display at the Museo de las Momias de Guanajuato, a museum dedicated to preserving and showcasing these eerie relics of the past. The museum is a macabre attraction, drawing thousands of visitors every year. Walking through its dimly lit halls, visitors are confronted with rows of glass cases containing the mummies. Each one is unique, their faces contorted in expressions of fear, agony, or sorrow. Some are infants, their tiny bodies preserved with the same haunting detail as the adults. Others still wear the clothing they were buried in, adding to their eerie realism. Many visitors report feeling an unshakable sense of unease. Some say the mummies' hollow eyes seem to follow them as they move through the room. Others claim to hear faint whispers or feel a cold presence nearby. The legends surrounding the mummies only add to their mystique. Locals believe that the spirits of these unfortunate souls linger in the museum, angered by the disturbance of their graves. Staff members have reported strange occurrences, from objects moving on their own to mysterious voices echoing in empty rooms. One popular story tells of a woman who fainted after staring at one of the mummies for too long. She swore she saw its lips move, as if it were trying to speak. The screaming mummies of Guanajuato remain one of history's most chilling mysteries. Were they victims of being buried alive? Or are their terrifying expressions simply a natural phenomenon? And why were these bodies preserved so perfectly when others decomposed? While science offers some answers, the haunting presence of the mummies leaves room for imagination and fear. Perhaps the real story is a combination of both, a mix of human error, natural preservation, and the psychological power of seeing death frozen in its most terrifying form. As you think about their story, you might find yourself imagining their final moments, the darkness, the suffocation, the screams that no one could hear. And as you close your eyes tonight, be warned, their silent screams may echo in your dreams. Deep in the arid desert sands of Sudan, where the relentless sun beats down on forgotten ruins, an extraordinary artifact was unearthed. A statue that has puzzled archaeologists, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. This ancient sculpture, known as the statue of the long-necked Pharaoh, stands as one of the most baffling mysteries of antiquity. Carved from smooth black granite and standing nearly 6 feet tall, the statue portrays a pharaoh unlike any other. The figure's elongated neck stretches unnaturally high, and its facial features are hauntingly strange. Almond-shaped eyes, a sharp jawline, and lips that seem almost otherworldly. What could this peculiar artifact mean? Was it an artistic interpretation of a real ruler, a representation of a supernatural being, or even, some dare to suggest, a depiction of extraterrestrial contact? To uncover the truth, we must delve into the sands of time and explore the mysterious civilization that left this puzzling relic behind. The story of the statue begins in the ancient kingdom of Kush, a powerful and sophisticated civilization that flourished along the Nile River in what is now modern-day Sudan. Kush was a rival and sometimes an ally of ancient Egypt, sharing many cultural and religious practices while maintaining a distinct identity. The Kushites built magnificent temples, impressive pyramids, and intricate statues, rivaling the grandeur of their Egyptian neighbors. Yet, unlike Egypt, much of Kush's history remains shrouded in mystery, buried beneath the shifting sands. In 1997, during an archaeological dig near the ancient city of Meroe, a prominent capital of Kush, researchers stumbled upon an extraordinary find. Hidden beneath layers of rubble in a collapsed temple was the statue that would later be dubbed the long-necked Pharaoh. When the statue was first uncovered, the excavation team was stunned. Though damaged by centuries of erosion, its intricate craftsmanship was undeniable. Every detail, from the flowing robes to the pharaoh's ornate crown, had been meticulously chiseled. But it was the figure's elongated neck that left everyone baffled. Unlike other statues of pharaohs, which typically depicted them with idealized human proportions, this figure's neck stretched unnaturally upward, giving it an almost serpentine appearance. Adding to the intrigue were the figure's strange facial features. Its eyes, slightly slanted and unusually large, seemed to stare into the soul of anyone who looked at it. Was this an artistic choice? A deliberate exaggeration meant to symbolize divine status or power? Or could it have been a faithful representation of a ruler whose physical appearance was unlike anything we've ever seen? The elongated neck immediately drew comparisons to the depictions of royalty in ancient Egypt and Kush. In these cultures, the pharaoh was not just a ruler, but a god-king, a divine intermediary between the heavens and earth. Artists often altered physical features in statues and paintings to emphasize their spiritual significance. Some scholars suggest that the long neck might symbolize a connection to the gods, a metaphorical stretching toward the heavens. The unusual facial features, they argue, could be an artistic attempt to portray the pharaoh as otherworldly, setting them apart from ordinary mortals. Others believe the statue might represent an individual with a real medical condition, such as Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder that can result in elongated limbs and features. Could this have been a ruler whose unique appearance inspired both reverence and myth? No discussion of the long-necked pharaoh would be complete without addressing the most controversial theory, that the statue is evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Proponents of the ancient astronaut theory point to the statue's elongated neck and unusual facial features as proof that the figure represents an alien being. They argue that many ancient civilizations, including the Kushites, believed their rulers were descended from the gods, or, perhaps, visitors from the stars. Supporters of this theory also note that the kingdom of Kush was located near regions associated with other mysterious artifacts, such as the pyramids of Giza and the enigmatic carvings of Abydos in Egypt. Could the Kushites have encountered beings from another world and immortalized them in stone? While mainstream archaeologists dismiss such claims as pseudoscience, the statue's unsettling appearance continues to fuel speculation. Another mystery lies in the inscriptions carved into the statue's base. Written in the ancient Meroitic script, a language still only partially deciphered, the text provides tantalizing hints but no clear answers. Some scholars have translated fragments of the text, which seem to describe the pharaoh as a guardian of the sky and the one who walks between worlds. These cryptic phrases have been interpreted in many ways. Was the pharaoh a religious figure tasked with maintaining balance between the heavens and earth? Or do these phrases hint at something more esoteric, perhaps even supernatural? The statue also features unusual symbols not commonly found in Kushite art. Among them is a recurring motif of a serpent coiled around a star, a symbol that has puzzled experts. Some believe it represents a celestial event, while others see it as a reference to mythological stories long lost to history. Since its discovery, the long-necked pharaoh has been the subject of countless legends and superstitions. Locals in the area where the statue was found claim that it is cursed. Stories abound of workers who fell ill after handling the artifact and researchers who experienced strange nightmares while studying it. Some say that the statue emits an eerie hum on quiet nights, a sound that seems to resonate with the rhythm of the stars. Others believe that staring into its eyes for too long can cause hallucinations or even madness. While these stories are likely the product of overactive imaginations, they have only added to the statue's aura of mystery. Despite decades of study, the long-necked pharaoh remains an enigma. Who was the figure depicted in the statue? Why did the artists choose to elongate the neck and alter the features in such a dramatic way? And what do the cryptic inscriptions truly mean? The answers may lie buried in the sands of Sudan, waiting for future archaeologists to uncover them. Or perhaps they are lost forever, hidden in the folds of history like the secrets of the kingdom of Kush itself. For now, the statue stands as a haunting reminder of how much we still don't know about our ancient past, a silent sentinel watching over the ruins of a forgotten world. As you imagine its long neck stretching toward the heavens, you might wonder, was this pharaoh reaching for the gods or for something far beyond our understanding? And as you close your eyes tonight, let the mystery of the long-necked pharaoh drift into your dreams, where the sands of time and the whispers of history intertwine. Beneath the crystal-clear waters of the Bahamas, hidden just a few feet below the surface, lies one of the most mysterious structures ever discovered, the Bimini Road. This underwater formation, composed of massive rectangular stone blocks arranged in a seemingly deliberate pattern, has captured the imaginations of explorers, scientists, and mystics alike. Some say it is the remnants of a lost civilization, perhaps even the legendary Atlantis. Others dismiss it as a natural formation, shaped by the forces of nature over millennia. Yet, as divers descend into the warm waters near North Bimini Island, they are struck by the road's uncanny symmetry and precise alignment. Is this the work of human hands or a geological coincidence? To uncover the truth, we must dive into history, science, and the murky depths of ancient lore. In 1968, a group of treasure hunters exploring the seabed off the coast of North Bimini Island stumbled upon an extraordinary sight. A series of enormous limestone blocks, each measuring up to 13 feet long, arranged in a straight line and curved into what appeared to be a road or wall. At first glance, it seemed impossible that such a structure could exist naturally. The stones, roughly rectangular and meticulously aligned, appeared to form a pathway stretching nearly half a mile. Some blocks rested atop others, suggesting an intentional design. News of the discovery spread quickly, sparking intense debate. Could this submerged pathway be evidence of an advanced ancient civilization? And if so, who were they, and what purpose did the road serve? The most tantalizing theory linking the Bimini Road to a lost civilization comes from the legendary tale of Atlantis. First described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis was said to be a mighty empire that vanished beneath the waves in a single catastrophic day. Plato's account, written around 360 BCE, described Atlantis as an advanced society with remarkable architecture and technology. While historians have long debated whether Atlantis was real or a metaphorical tale, many believe it was located somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. In the 1930s, American mystic Edgar Cayce added fuel to the fire. Cayce, often called the Sleeping Prophet, claimed in a series of trance readings that remnants of Atlantis would be discovered near Bimini in the late 1960s. When the Bimini Road was uncovered in 1968, believers hailed it as the fulfillment of Casey's prophecy. Could the Bimini Road be a fragment of Atlantis, a road that once connected a thriving city to the rest of its empire before disaster struck? Not everyone is convinced of the Atlantis theory. Geologists and marine scientists have studied the Bimini Road extensively, and many argue that the formation is entirely natural. According to this theory, the stones are large slabs of beach rock, a type of sedimentary limestone common in the Bahamas. Over thousands of years, the rock fractured into rectangular shapes due to natural weathering and wave action, creating the illusion of a man-made road. While this explanation seems plausible, skeptics point out several anomalies. The precise alignment of the stones, the presence of multiple layers, and the sheer size of some blocks seem to defy natural processes. Could nature truly create something so eerily organized? If the Bimini Road is indeed man-made, who could have built it? The Bahamas was home to the Lucayan people, a branch of the indigenous Taino, long before European explorers arrived. However, there is no evidence that the Lucayans possessed the tools or techniques necessary to move and position such massive stones. Some researchers speculate that the road could date back much further, to a time before the last ice age, when sea levels were significantly lower, and vast stretches of land now submerged were above water. During this period, known as the Late Pleistocene, early human civilizations might have thrived in areas now lost to the ocean. Could the Bimini Road be a relic of one such forgotten culture? Adding to the mystery are the strange phenomena reported by divers who have explored the Bimini Road. Many describe an unshakable sense of unease while swimming near the stones, as though they are being watched. Others claim to have seen ghostly lights flickering beneath the waves or heard low, unearthly hums emanating from the rocks. In one particularly chilling account, a diver reported seeing a shadowy figure walking along the road, only to vanish moments later. These eerie experiences have led some to believe the road is imbued with supernatural energy. Mystics and spiritualists argue that the Bimini Road sits on a powerful ley line, a supposed energy grid that crisscrosses the Earth. They claim the road is a portal to other dimensions or a site of ancient rituals meant to harness cosmic forces. Decades after its discovery, the Bimini Road remains one of the most studied yet least understood underwater formations in the world. Despite countless dives, sonar scans, and geological surveys, no definitive answer has emerged. Theories abound. Some researchers propose that the Bimini Road was part of an ancient harbor, where ships docked to load and unload cargo. Others suggest it was a quarry site where ancient builders extracted stones for construction, though no matching structures have been found on nearby islands. The scientific consensus leans toward a natural origin, but even this explanation leaves questions unanswered. Part of the Bimini Road's enduring fascination lies in its ambiguity. Whether it is a natural marvel, the work of ancient humans, or a relic of a lost world, it captures the imagination in a way few discoveries can. As you picture the stones beneath the turquoise waters, think about the countless secrets that remain hidden in the ocean's depths. The Bimini Road may never reveal its true origins, but it reminds us of the vast mysteries that still await discovery. So tonight, as you drift off to sleep, let your mind wander to the Bahamas. Picture yourself gliding through warm, crystal waters, tracing the path of the Bimini Road and wondering where it might have once led. Could it be to a forgotten city, an ancient civilization, or perhaps to the mythical Atlantis itself? Let the whispers of the ocean carry you into dreams of the unknown. Hidden in the vast deserts of modern-day Iran lies Shahr-e Sukhteh, or the Burnt City. This sprawling archaeological site holds the remnants of an ancient civilization that existed over 5,000 years ago. Unlike many ruins from history, Shahr-e Sukhteh is not merely a place of curiosity. It's a window into a world that was astonishingly advanced for its time. This city, which dates back to around 3200 BCE, was a marvel of urban planning, innovation, and artistry. However, what sets Shahr-e Sukhteh apart from other ancient sites is not just its accomplishments but the lingering mysteries that surround its existence. Why was this flourishing city abandoned? What caused the devastating fires that left it in ruins? And how could a society so ancient have achieved feats that rival modern technology and medicine? The answers lie buried under centuries of sand and ash, waiting to be unearthed. To understand Shahr-e Sukhteh's significance, one must imagine its strategic location in ancient times. Situated near the Helmand River, this city was more than just a settlement. It was a bustling nexus of trade and culture. Positioned at the crossroads of major trade routes connecting Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley, and Central Asia, Shahr-e Sukhteh attracted people, goods, and ideas from far-flung regions. At its zenith, the city covered a staggering 150 hectares, making it one of the largest urban centers of its era. Unlike the chaotic sprawl of some ancient cities, Shahr-e Sukhteh was meticulously organized. Residential areas were carefully planned, with houses built to optimize space and airflow. Workshops buzzed with activity, producing everything from intricate jewelry to durable tools. Public spaces served as gathering points for trade, discussion, and celebration. One of the city's most remarkable achievements was its irrigation system. In a region where water scarcity posed a constant challenge, the inhabitants of Shahr-e Sukhteh devised an elaborate network of canals and reservoirs. These systems not only supplied water for drinking and agriculture, but also demonstrated an understanding of engineering that was well ahead of its time. Life in Shahr-e Sukhteh was vibrant and dynamic. Its streets would have been filled with the sights and sounds of artisans crafting goods, traders bartering wares, and scholars sharing knowledge. This was a place where innovation thrived, fueled by the exchange of ideas and the creativity of its people. Over decades of excavation, archaeologists have uncovered a treasure trove of artifacts that reveal the ingenuity of Shahr-e Sukhteh's people. Yet among these discoveries, two stand out for their ability to challenge everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations. Perhaps the most astonishing find from Shahr-e Sukhteh is the artificial eye of a woman who lived nearly 5,000 years ago. Discovered in her grave in 2006, this artifact is nothing short of extraordinary. Made from a mixture of natural tar and animal fat, the eye was meticulously shaped to resemble a real human eyeball. Its surface was coated with a layer of gold to mimic the sclera, and tiny lines were etched into it to replicate blood vessels. Even more impressive, the eye featured two small perforations on its sides, allowing it to be sewn into place with thread. The craftsmanship and attention to detail suggest not only a deep understanding of anatomy, but also a level of artistic and technical skill that seems almost unbelievable for its time. This discovery raises countless questions. Who was this woman? Was she a prominent figure in her society, perhaps a ruler, priestess, or healer? Why was such effort invested in creating this prosthetic? Was it purely functional, or did it hold symbolic or spiritual significance? Another groundbreaking discovery was the collection of medical tools found in a bronze case buried alongside a male skeleton. These tools included scalpels, needles, and probes, all carefully crafted from metal. Their design suggests that the people of Shahr-e Sukhteh had a sophisticated understanding of surgery and medicine. Even more compelling is the evidence of a man who had undergone cranial surgery. His skull showed signs of a healed fracture, indicating that not only was the procedure performed successfully, but the patient also survived and recovered. This level of medical expertise challenges the belief that advanced surgical techniques were exclusive to later civilizations. What drove the people of Shahr-e Sukhteh to achieve such medical advancements? Were these tools the result of trial and error, or did they stem from a deeper knowledge of the human body? The answers remain elusive, adding another layer of intrigue to this already fascinating society. Despite its remarkable achievements, Shahr-e Sukhteh met a tragic end. Around 2300 BCE, the city was abandoned after a series of catastrophic fires. The reasons behind these disasters are the subject of much debate among historians and archaeologists. One theory posits that the region's seismic activity may have triggered earthquakes that ignited fires, devastating the city. Another possibility is that Shahr-e Sukhteh fell victim to external aggression or internal strife, with invaders or rebellious factions setting the city ablaze. Some researchers believe that environmental factors played a role. Overuse of natural resources, particularly water, could have led to ecological collapse, forcing the population to abandon their home. The fires that engulfed Shahr-e Sukhteh were so intense that they left the city buried under layers of ash and debris. This destruction, while tragic, also served to preserve many of its structures and artifacts, allowing modern researchers to piece together its story. Excavations at Shahr-e Sukhteh have revealed countless details about the daily lives of its inhabitants. From the layout of its neighborhoods to the objects found in its homes, the city offers a vivid snapshot of a thriving society. Among the most captivating discoveries is a clay vessel adorned with a sequence of painted images. When spun, these images animate, depicting a goat leaping to eat leaves from a tree. This artifact, believed to be one of the earliest examples of animation, highlights the creativity and artistic sensibilities of Shahr-e Sukhteh's people. Other finds include musical instruments, board games, and cooking utensils, all of which suggest a society that valued leisure and cultural expression. These artifacts paint a picture of a community that balanced work with play, innovation with tradition, and practicality with beauty. Today, the ruins of Shahr-e Sukhteh stand as a testament to the brilliance of its people. This ancient city challenges our assumptions about early civilizations, proving that innovation and creativity are not exclusive to modern times. At the same time, Shahr-e Sukhteh serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human achievements. Despite its technological and cultural advancements, the city ultimately fell victim to forces beyond its control, leaving behind only fragments of its story. As archaeologists continue to study Shahr-e Sukhteh, new discoveries are constantly shedding light on this enigmatic civilization. Yet, for every question answered, new mysteries arise. The story of Shahr-e Sukhteh is one of innovation, resilience, and mystery. It reminds us that the past is never truly gone. It lingers in the ruins, waiting to be rediscovered. As you ponder the achievements and enigmas of this ancient city, let its legacy inspire a sense of wonder and curiosity that transcends time. Lie back, close your eyes, and imagine walking through the bustling streets of Shahr-e Sukhteh, where the air hums with the energy of creativity and discovery. Let the burnt city guide you into dreams filled with exploration and imagination. When most people think of pyramids, their minds immediately conjure images of Egypt's Great Pyramids of Giza, massive, imposing structures that dominate the desert landscape and serve as iconic symbols of ancient Egyptian civilization. But few know that Egypt is not the only land of pyramids. In fact, its southern neighbor, Sudan, is home to an astonishing number of pyramids, more than 200, far surpassing the count in Egypt. These pyramids, nestled in the ancient region of Nubia, remain shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Unlike their Egyptian counterparts, the Nubian pyramids have been largely overlooked by history books and modern media. Yet they hold secrets that could rewrite much of what we know about ancient civilizations. These structures, with their sharp angles and unique designs, were tombs for the kings and queens of the Kushite kingdom, a powerful and sophisticated society that once rivaled Egypt in wealth, influence, and architectural ingenuity. But who were the people of Nubia, and what drove them to build these remarkable monuments? What treasures and knowledge lie hidden within their walls? And why has their story been eclipsed by the grandeur of Egypt? The answers to these questions lead us on a journey into one of history's most fascinating yet underappreciated civilizations. To understand the significance of the Nubian pyramids, we must first delve into the history of the Kushite kingdom. Situated along the fertile banks of the Nile River in what is now Sudan, Kush was a land of abundance. Its people harnessed the river's life-giving waters to cultivate crops, sustain livestock, and fuel trade. Gold, ivory, and exotic goods flowed through its markets, making it a hub of wealth and commerce. But Kush was more than an economic powerhouse. It was a cultural melting pot, shaped by interactions with neighboring Egypt and other African civilizations. Over centuries, the Kushites absorbed and adapted Egyptian traditions, including the worship of gods like Amun and Isis, as well as the construction of monumental architecture. By the 8th century BC, Kush had risen to such prominence that its rulers not only held sway over their own land, but also conquered Egypt, establishing the 25th dynasty, known as the Black Pharaohs. This dynasty brought a renaissance of culture and architecture to Egypt, as Kushite rulers sought to revive the glory of its ancient past. Yet, even after their rule in Egypt came to an end, the Kushite kings and queens continued to build pyramids, not in Egypt, but in their homeland of Nubia. These structures, concentrated in regions like Meroe, Nuri, and Gebel Barkal, became lasting symbols of Kushite power and spirituality. The pyramids of Nubia are strikingly different from their Egyptian counterparts. Where Egypt's pyramids are massive, with broad bases and gently sloping sides, the Nubian pyramids are much smaller and steeper, rising sharply into the sky. Most of these pyramids were built between 2,700 and 2,300 years ago, during the Napatan and Meroitic periods of Kushite history. They served as tombs for royalty, constructed over burial chambers that were often carved deep into the earth. These chambers were accessible through long, sloping passageways, which were sealed after the burial to protect the treasures and remains within. The interior walls of many pyramids were adorned with intricate carvings and paintings depicting scenes of the afterlife, Kushite deities, and royal achievements. These artworks reveal a fusion of Egyptian and indigenous Nubian motifs, highlighting the unique cultural identity of Kush. But the most intriguing aspect of these pyramids lies in their purpose and symbolism. Why did the Kushites choose to emulate and adapt the Egyptian tradition of pyramid building? Was it purely a matter of cultural influence, or did the pyramids hold deeper spiritual or political significance? Each pyramid in Nubia was built to honor a king, queen, or noble of the Kushite kingdom. These rulers, though often overshadowed by their Egyptian counterparts, were figures of immense power and influence. One such ruler was King Taharqa, perhaps the most famous of the Kushite kings. Taharqa's reign marked a period of unprecedented prosperity and cultural flourishing for Kush. He expanded his empire, commissioned grand temples and monuments, and presided over a golden age of trade and diplomacy. Queen Amanirenas, another notable figure, was a fierce warrior queen who famously resisted Roman incursions into Nubia. Her defiance of Rome, one of the most powerful empires in history, earned her a place of reverence in Nubian lore. Yet for every Taharqa or Amanirenas, there are countless other Kushite rulers whose stories remain untold. Their names are inscribed on the walls of their tombs, their achievements recorded in hieroglyphs and carvings. But centuries of neglect, looting, and erosion have obscured their legacies, leaving historians to piece together fragments of their history. Despite decades of research, the Nubian pyramids remain largely unexplored. Many of these structures have been damaged or destroyed by looters, who plundered their treasures long before modern archaeologists arrived. Others lie buried beneath layers of sand, their secrets preserved but inaccessible. Among the questions that continue to baffle researchers is the exact method of pyramid construction. How did the Kushites transport and position the massive stone blocks used to build their pyramids? What tools and techniques did they employ, and how did their methods differ from those of the Egyptians? Even more intriguing are the artifacts and remains discovered within the pyramids. Jewelry, pottery, and ceremonial items hint at the wealth and sophistication of Kushite society. Skeletal remains, meanwhile, offer clues about the health, diet, and lifestyle of the ancient Nubians. But the most tantalizing mysteries are those that remain unsolved. What spiritual beliefs inspired the construction of these pyramids? What rituals were performed within their chambers? And what other secrets lie hidden in the unexcavated tombs of Nubia? The Nubian pyramids are architectural marvels, yet they have received far less attention than Egypt's pyramids. Part of the reason lies in their remote location. Situated in the harsh deserts of Sudan, the pyramids are difficult to access and study. Another factor is the historical bias that has often overlooked African civilizations in favor of those in Europe and the Near East. For centuries, the achievements of the Kushite kingdom were dismissed or downplayed, overshadowed by the grandeur of Egypt. Yet, this is beginning to change. In recent years, archaeologists and historians have turned their attention to Nubia, uncovering new evidence of its rich cultural heritage. As more discoveries are made, the Nubian pyramids are finally receiving the recognition they deserve. The pyramids of Nubia stand as enduring symbols of a civilization that thrived against the odds. They remind us that history is not the story of one culture or region, but a tapestry woven from the achievements of countless societies. As we gaze upon these forgotten monuments, we are reminded of the ingenuity, resilience, and creativity of the Kushite people. Their pyramids, though smaller in size, are no less impressive than those of Egypt. They are testaments to a legacy that refuses to be forgotten, waiting for the world to uncover its full story. Lie back, close your eyes, and imagine walking among the pyramids of Nubia, feeling the whispers of a lost civilization carried on the desert wind. Let their mysteries guide you into dreams of discovery and wonder. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, as it is known to its indigenous people, is one of the most isolated places on Earth. Situated in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, over 2,200 miles from the nearest landmass, the island is a place where time seems to stand still. It's famous for its moai statues, massive stone heads with elongated faces and large eyes, each one believed to represent an important ancestor of the island's people. These statues are a mystery in themselves, but what if we told you there's more to this island's history than just the moai? Beneath the towering moai, a collection of smaller, less-known stone heads has been discovered. These mysterious carvings, some of which contain unusual inscriptions, raise new questions about the island's past. Who were the creators of these smaller heads, And why did they leave such an intricate record of their existence on an island so isolated from the rest of the world? Before we dive into the smaller stone heads, it's important to understand the significance of Easter Island's famous moai statues. These monumental stone figures, often standing over 10 feet tall, were carved from volcanic tuff, a type of porous rock. They have become iconic symbols of Easter Island and are integral to the history and culture of Rapa Nui. Each moai is believed to represent an important ancestor, often a tribal chief or religious leader. The people of Rapa Nui would carve these statues to honor their deceased leaders, hoping that their spirits would watch over and protect the living. These statues were placed on ceremonial platforms known as ahu, where they were often positioned to face the interior of the island, watching over the communities they protected. But while the moai statues are well known, another mystery lies hidden just beneath the surface of this island paradise. Smaller, more enigmatic stone heads have been discovered in various locations, raising questions about who created them and their role in Rapa Nui's ancient history. In the early 20th century, archaeologists began to uncover smaller stone heads scattered across Easter Island. These heads are not as large or imposing as the moai, but they are no less mysterious. They appear to be carved in a different style, more detailed, more refined in some cases, and less crude than the earlier moai sculptures. Some of these heads are just a few feet tall, with features that seem almost human-like, but their expressions vary from serene to strangely intense. What is most unusual about these heads, however, are the markings that are sometimes found on them. Unlike the known Polynesian writing systems, these inscriptions are completely unique. The symbols are angular, geometric, and bear no resemblance to any other script in Polynesian culture. What do these inscriptions mean? Could they be a form of communication, a way for the ancient inhabitants of Rapa Nui to leave a message for future generations? Or do they represent something much older, perhaps the remnants of a culture that existed on the island before the arrival of the Polynesians? The most intriguing aspect of these smaller stone heads is the discovery of strange inscriptions on some of them. These markings have baffled scholars for years. They do not resemble any known Polynesian writing system, nor do they seem to have any connection to the Rongorongo script, another undeciphered writing system found on Easter Island. The inscriptions are composed of angular symbols, sometimes etched into the stone in intricate patterns. Some believe these symbols could be a form of early writing, used by a forgotten civilization that existed on the island long before the Polynesians arrived. Others think that they may represent a form of artistic expression, unique to the creators of these stone heads. Could these markings be a form of code, a message left by an ancient people to tell their story? Or could they be a forgotten language, waiting for someone to unlock its secrets? The discovery of these smaller stone heads has led to a number of fascinating theories about the island's ancient past. One of the most popular theories is that these heads may be evidence of a lost civilization that predated the Polynesians. Some researchers believe that the people who created these heads were part of an ancient group who arrived on Easter Island long before the Polynesians. This group could have been part of a larger civilization that spanned across the Pacific, one that possessed advanced knowledge of writing, architecture, and engineering. These people may have left their mark on Easter Island in the form of the stone heads, but for reasons unknown, their civilization disappeared, leaving behind only these mysterious relics as a testament to their existence. Other theories suggest that these smaller stone heads could be the work of a different group of Polynesians, one with a distinct culture or spiritual practice that was unique to Easter Island. Perhaps the inscriptions are not a form of writing at all, but rather symbols representing the island's gods or spiritual beliefs. Could these inscriptions be a message from the past telling us more about the island's origins? What connection do the small stone heads have to the larger moai statues that have come to symbolize Rapa Nui? These questions remain unanswered, but they continue to fuel the intrigue surrounding Easter Island's ancient past. One of the most perplexing aspects of Easter Island is its extreme isolation. Situated over 2,200 miles from the nearest land, Rapa Nui was a remote island, difficult to reach and even harder to explore. This isolation raises the question: how did such a sophisticated civilization come to inhabit the island in the first place? The earliest settlers of Rapa Nui are believed to have arrived around 800 CE, likely from the Marquesas Islands. Over the centuries, these settlers built their society, carving the famous moai statues and creating a complex culture. But what if the smaller stone heads, with their peculiar inscriptions, were created by a group that came before the Polynesians? Could they have arrived on Easter Island much earlier, perhaps through a different means of navigation? The extreme isolation of Easter Island would have made it difficult for outside influences to reach the island, adding to the mystery of the stone heads. Could the people who created these heads have been influenced by ancient civilizations from elsewhere in the Pacific or even further afield? Despite decades of research and exploration, the mystery of the stone heads of Easter Island remains unsolved. Archaeologists continue to study the inscriptions, hoping that one day they will uncover their meaning. Some have even suggested that the small stone heads could hold the key to understanding the island's forgotten history, a history that may stretch back further than anyone could have imagined. As we look at these ancient sculptures, we are left with more questions than answers. Who were the creators of these stone heads? What do the strange inscriptions mean? And what role did these figures play in the ancient culture of Easter Island? The stone heads of Rapa Nui, like the moai statues, stand as silent witnesses to a time long past, holding secrets that may never be fully understood. But as long as they remain on the island, they will continue to spark curiosity and fascination, inviting future generations to unlock their mysteries and learn the forgotten stories of Easter Island.